What's the deal, y'all? Z85 Jew. We're back with another video, and as you guys can see, I have a plethora of parts right here, and I just want to kind of give you guys a little brief walk around of like what I have. I'm actually, believe it or not, still waiting on some stuff, so this is not even everything that's coming in. So here we go. The first thing I want to show you guys is my turbo gasket. So my turbo is no longer a V-band. My comp turbo is now a 4-bolt flange. So I do need a gasket to be able to put in between the turbo and the manifold. My turbo in particular is a twin scroll. And for those who may not know what a twin scroll or what that means, basically it's channeling the air that's flowing from the turbo through the cylinders. So the air that's coming through the turbo is going to go through 3 of the cylinders. And then on this side, it's going to go to 3 as well, since I have a 6-cylinder. Basically, when you have a twin scroll turbo and a twin scroll manifold, it just really helps with the spool. So it'll kind of act like a ball bearing turbo in a way, even though my turbo is journal bearing, so it's more on the cheaper side. But yeah, this is really just gonna help. So I believe there's 2 in here. You guys might not be able to tell, but there's 2 in here. So that is gonna be that for the first thing. Second thing, I do have all new hardware as far as the manifold bolts. It's funny because I was looking online and they sell manifold bolts, but they're like $80. They come out basically like to $120 after tax. For those who have a 2JZ, this is the size that you need right here. I don't know why that wasn't focusing, but you'd need an M10 1.25. You also need 12 of them, so I had to get 6 packets of these. So I have that. Next up is going to be the oil filter relocation. So this is the complete set right here. So basically what this is, kind of how like my boy Davion with the SR20, where he has his oil filter mounted on top. So it's kind of like a remote location, hence the name. Pretty much, it's just really cool looking. And then 2, just like serviceability. The amount of space that I have in this engine bay with the 2JZ, there's not really a whole lot. Like, yeah, it's open and stuff like that, but when you think about it, there's not a whole lot of room for me to like actually fit my hand under there and change the oil filter, right? The idea is basically to mount the oil filter in a remote location, so that way it's a lot easier to access, you know, later on. So maybe you know, putting it right here or something like that is the idea. That is going to be that portion of it. Next up is going to be this right here. So believe it or not, this is an oil dipstick. It's really nice. I'll take it out the package in a bit. Basically, the old oil filter in here, or the old dipstick in here, is actually not supposed to be right there. Keep in mind, this is an aftermarket intake manifold, so this oil dipstick is not made to go in that location or anything like that. Basically, what this is gonna do, you see it has like this little mounting tab. It's actually gonna mount right here where this bolt is, so it'll be like really nice in a remote location. So it'll be tucked away, you won't really see it as much. They had these in silver and black. I did want black to kind of get it to blend in a little bit more, but they were on back order. I decided to just go ahead and get the silver. I don't really like waiting for stuff, so I went ahead and got the silver. And believe it or not, this thing is very, very expensive. You don't even want to know the price of how much just this little dipstick would cost, but that's a whole nother story. You guys can look that up. But if you guys are ever interested in something like that, this is the brand, I believe it's called Fred Engineering. That's gonna be that right there. As you guys can see right behind it, I do have an oil cooler. This is a 15-row oil cooler, if I'm not mistaken. 15 or 19, I can't remember the one that I got, but yeah, 15 or 19 row oil cooler. Nothing really special here, not really any name brand, Mishimoto, anything like that. It's just an oil cooler, you know, that's really all you need. It's just cooling the oil that's running through it. So maybe later down the road, I'll go ahead and change that out, but that'll do the job. And it did come with the lines pre-made, so hopefully, you know, that kind of fits out how it should. But that's really cool that it did come with the lines. And then right here we have both the wastegate and the blow-off valve. So they are both obviously a Tile brand. This is a 44 millimeter wastegate. Very, very nice piece. Funny story on the VQ, with that turbo kit, I actually had 2 wastegates and I wanted to get Tile, but I didn't realize the Tile wastegates are really expensive. This wastegate right here was like $500, and you can already see if you need 2, that's over $1,000. So I actually had some eBay wastegates on the VQ for a while and they were good, but for this build, I feel like this build definitely needs a reputable brand for something like that that's going to be controlling the boost and managing the boost. So definitely went with the Tile on that. And I'm really excited because on the eBay wastegates, I wasn't able to run this type of fitting. And for those who don't know what this is an air fitting. So pretty much the line that runs through here is going to lock in. You won't actually be able to pull this out unless you push this little piece back. running these type of like lines, you know you won't ever have like any type of boost leaks and stuff like that. So it's really, really beneficial to do that. So I'm happy I got that. And then I went with the Q style blow off valve. I did have a Q style blow off valve on the VQ, and I just had to go back. I love these blow off valves. I had one on the VQ, I had one on the RB. I can't do anything else. I've had the HKS, but personally I'm not really a fan of how they sound, especially like with how the JC is going to be all throaty and like really deep toned. I don't really think that that HKS suits this, so I think the tile is a perfect fit. As you guys might have noticed, I've been waiting for the boots to come in for my coil packs, and it looks like they got here, but the only thing that's weird, I ordered this was supposed to come with the springs as well, and the springs weren't even in the box, so that was kind of weird. So I'm gonna have to double check on that, because it said, you know, it was the springs came with it as well, but it's not the end of the world. We'll go ahead and order that later. Over here I do have my oil pressure sensor, so if you guys are ever interested in that, this is the part number right here. Very expensive sensor. You won't even believe how much this costs again, but we're gonna leave all that out of it because we like to drive the cars and not mourn on how much they're costing us. So that is that, and then this is just like a little adapter piece that basically this will extend the oil pressure sensor out. I do have all of my spark plugs. This is a 6-cylinder, so I have 12 right here. I just have 2 sets because usually at the dyno, you're gonna wanna put one in and tune on that. And then maybe, you know, if you need to, you can replace them. So I just figured it'd be better just to go ahead and buy 2 sets. So I do have 2 sets ready to go. And then as well, yeah, this is the part number that I am using. It's gonna be 2669 NGK. I do have a oil drain adapter. So this is not gonna go under the turbo. This actually goes onto the oil pan itself. So with the JZ, with it already being a turbo engine, it has an oil drain already on the engine, and it has an oil feed already on the engine as well. So this is basically just going to replace the old mechanism, and later on, once we actually start putting all these parts on, I'll show you what the old one looks like. But this one is just going to make it easier for us to actually run an inline, so that's kind of self-explanatory. This belt is my serpentine belt. Right now I actually have a serpentine belt on the car. You guys can see that right here, but the belt that's on the car is going to be a belt that's going to run AC and power steering. As you guys can see, my AC lines is tied up right now literally, and I'm not really going to be running AC at the moment. I could, but all this stuff is truthfully just costing me so much money, and I really just want to go ahead and drive the car. So what I went ahead and bought is another belt. This one is basically the same thing, except for this does not run around the AC. So I will still have power steering because I definitely need that, but I won't be running AC, at least for the time being. My plans are to chop these lines off and just kind of leave that alone for right now. I would take them off, but these things are giving me such a headache. That's why they've been on here looking kind of stupid for so long. Yeah, that's the plan. So this is just the new belt for time being, and then I still will keep that belt when I do want to run AC. Fortunately, I live in SoCal, so I shouldn't really need it too much. And then when it's super hot, I probably won't be driving this car anyway. But yeah, that is that. And last but not least, we have the coil pack harness. So this piece is from Wiring Specialties. Very nice piece. They make high quality stuff. Everything is labeled as well, you know, as far as 1, 2, 3. You can see right here, it says coil, what is this? Coil 6. So everything is super labeled. So I love that. I love them. I will always use them when I can. That's gonna be somewhat of a little bit of a parts update. Oh, I even forgot about this. So I did order a intercooler piping kit because we are gonna be making our own kit. There is a surprise that is coming in the mail. Some of the things in this box I won't use. Yes, this is 3-inch piping, so it's going to be full 3-inch, nothing, you know, no 2.75, nothing like that. Everything is just going to be full 3-inch, so really thick and big piping. Super excited for that. And speaking of the springs for my coil packs and the coil pack boots, I just checked the box that I actually was going to throw away right over there, and this was inside. So I'm glad I went ahead and double take that, because I was like, I could have sworn I saw these and the springs in there, and I read the description that it said it came with springs. So I'm glad I found that. So we will go ahead and throw that over here with the plethora of parts. I'm honestly super excited to go ahead and throw all this stuff on. It's a little intimidating, don't get me wrong, like it's a lot of stuff. And I will say firsthand, building this car, it's honestly been a lot more expensive than I could have ever imagined. I didn't think that putting a 2JZ in a Nismo 370Z was going to be this expensive, but I guess what was I thinking, right? What's going on, guys? Couple days have passed, and what I've been waiting for has finally got here. So I am super excited to show you my new dash. So this is a PowerTune digital dash. I wasn't really gonna go with a setup like this because this harness is plug and play for the 2JZ to the 370. But I was like, you know what? We're doing such a crazy swap. Like, how dope would it be to have some type of like digital gauge cluster in there that would display everything from the standalone ECU to this dash. So technically, with this entire setup, I don't need any gauges in the car. I don't need an air to fuel ratio gauge. I don't need a fuel gauge. I don't need a boost gauge. I don't need anything. Everything will be displayed from what the ECU is reading onto this dash. I don't know what I'm going to be doing as far as my setup in here. You guys know I did put a gauge pod up here, two of them actually. So I have AFR on the left and then boost to the right. I don't know what I'm going to be doing as far as like leaving them or what. But I'm so stoked for this, man. This piece was very expensive, but it's well worth the money. I'm just excited. I'll try to see if I can maybe hook it up later or something like that in this video, so that way you guys can see what it looks like. But if I don't, definitely in the next coming videos, you guys will see what this display looks like. Super sick, man. Super nice piece. On another note, we did get a few more parts that came in. So these are gonna be my valve cover bolts. The stock ones are just really old and nasty, so these will replace those. And then these are the gaskets for them that will go on them. Those are together. This is the union bolt that I need in order to mount the remote oil filter relocation, and that might not make sense right now, but I will show you guys later in the next video and you guys will understand why I need that. The last thing that came in are actually these clamps right here. So if you guys know what this is basically a clamp that is going to replace the coupler, and in a sense you won't have any boost leaks with this, so I'm super excited for that. The entire setup will have that, so I do have 4 here, hoping that 4 is all I need. That is very nice, man. This build is going to be so sick. I don't think you guys really understand how much work and time I'm really putting in. Like, just look at all these new parts that I have right here. It's just crazy, man.
Nice, you know what I mean? See?
On that note, guys, that's gonna end today's video. If you guys did enjoy the content of me updating you on all the parts that I have for the JZ, please leave me a like, comment, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. In the next video, we're gonna be taking the engine out and putting everything that we have here on the engine. I feel like it'd be a lot easier out, and then that way I can make sure everything is nice, neat. I can go ahead and put my harness on. So if you guys are excited, stay tuned for the next upload. Other than that, I'm out. I'll catch you guys.
Sit. Sit. He's camera shy.
What is that noise? It's early in the morning like this. No way. Oh my God.